Hey, everybody. I'll wait a little minute and see if anybody's popping in. Hi, everybody. When you guys join in, happy Thursday. Cute. Keith, would you just help me out and let me know if you see my slides up now? Tell me in the chat. Hey, Justine. Justine, if you can let me know if you see my slides up in the chat, would help me out just to make sure I have everything correctly. Okay, guys, I'm going to give it another minute. I see everybody popping in. I looked at the invite list, so I'm just going to give it a few more minutes. Do you guys see the slides?
I do, yes.
You do? Okay, great. Thank you. Hi, Dwayne.
Hello.
Okay, guys, I'm just going to give it another minute because the invite list, just give me one more minute. I see some people are having a hard time popping in, so I'm just giving it a few more minutes. Okay, welcome everybody. I'm excited to have you all. I'm going to just do a little bit of a housekeeping rules to start. During the presentation, I'm not going to be answering questions. So if you guys have any questions, just put it in the chat. And then after the presentation is over, if there's enough time for questions and you guys have time, I'd be happy to stay and do that. So let's get started. Okay, welcome to Boardroom. Boardroom was created because I have a wealth of experience that I wanted to share with my fellow entrepreneurs out there. So I hope you guys are in a quiet spot. Turn your phones off, close your windows, your email, grab a notepad, because we have some work to do. I'm Margot Massey, your accounting genius. I started my business when I was raising my kids, and I fell in love with helping fellow accounting entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs in general. So on my free time, I love to practice yoga, I love to spin, and I love to travel. My mission at Margot's Bookkeeping is to help entrepreneurs succeed through more time and more freedom. So I'm going to jump in at the beginning, and I found this post on Pinterest, and it says, I easily attract sales because I easily attract my ideal client. So if you guys stay till the end, I want you to let me know how this pertains to the data today. I'm really so happy that you guys are here to share this. This is my first webinar, so bear with me today, and let's get started. My mission today is to help you get better organized with cleanup work. Cleanup work means different things to people. And we weren't put on this earth to slave away on your business. We are here to serve our clients, bring our clients to a better place than they were before, create cash flow for our services with monthly retainers. Now, it sounds perfect, right? And how are we going to get there? What you will be learning will bring you out of your comfort zone today. But I want you to enter this webinar with an open mind and really take the time to sit and to listen to the data so that you feel that you're getting the value, but also to help encourage you for your business. Most people who fail at cleanup work is because they really don't communicate and they don't have a proactive strategy in place. Now, many of us want growth, right? We're going into 2019 and we all want more money. But the two things that come into play here is if we switch from an overwhelmed mindset and to start on a proactive strategy, we're going to be able to build a profitable, scalable product to help our servicing and our offering to our clients. So why should we get more organized? Like, what does that mean to all of you? We make our clients more successful. We get to become a leading industry expert in what we do. We get to charge premium pricing. My favorite part is we get to serve in our genius zone. The huge secret to building a successful and profitable business is checklists and proactive strategies and consistency. So here's an example of a cleanup checklist that it's a beginning. And then as we get through this webinar, you're going to see some things unfold, on how we really get there. So if you take item by item on this, I say the drama the client portrays because the client calls us always in a way of just 911. But we have to take that and build it into bullet points and then into the different categories to turn this into the value to help them be more successful. My clients, their favorite part is their notes, because that's the part where it's the questions to them, it's some things that they need to highlight, all those sorts of things. What we're going to cover today, we're going to identify our audience, great questions to ask, how to get organized, and part 4 is the special surprise. So let's get started. We're identifying our audience. So the framework is who we want to work with, right? Our ideal client. We want to gain the trust. But after we gain the trust, we want to enroll them. So with our ideal customers, you want to be super specific. You want to go into age, gender, income, hobbies, children. Are they married? Are they single? Like, I'm married. So for me, I understand people from a different way because I'm married. So I can see things from a different way, how much of education they have. And one of my top things is their core values, because that's how I know if we're going to be able to work together in a clear way to help them be successful. But everyone is not your customer. The first question is always, what's their biggest pain? A pain point is a specific problem that your ideal customer is experiencing. So a pain point equals a problem. Now, this is a little bit of a do now while I'm sharing these questions with you is, how am I different and why should they buy from me? So while I'm saying these questions, take out a paper and really think on these questions. Fellow entrepreneurs, you are a unique human. Jot down some qualities on what makes you unique. I would say at least 3 to 5. Outline 3 different ways that you are different from your competitors. And outline 3 reasons why your customers should buy from you. Now, sometimes people have a hard time with number 2 and number 3 because they feel it overlaps. So things that are different from your competitors, for me, is in my area with my customers is I personally have interaction with all my clients. I personally look to gain trust from each of them each and every day. So some reasons why customers should buy from me, that's a great question. So for me, they buy from me is because they trust me. And it's getting to an understanding of what they need. So when you outline this, it starts to unfold who you really want to work with. Now, don't feel bad. Who was the no client? Working with people that drain your life away is a lose-lose situation. Outline your no client. So for instance, if you just find certain things are just bugging the jitters out of you, take that down. Because when you're on a prospect call, you want to note those things because how the client is at the beginning is what carries through on the relationship. When you outline your no client, it helps you to really see when things are going right, when they're going wrong, what really is happening. Create a rating system to help you decide. So I actually have a funny story with this. I have a mentor that I used recently. Like I spoke to him and his rating system was like 1 to 100. Now my rating system is like 1 to 20 and it's sections of 5s, like I have areas. And when you take the time to do this, you realize you love your business more because you're gaining the value from being able to deal with that client. Now, based on who you want to serve, now let us create a checklist to communicate with them. So this is an area, broad areas on what's happening. So based on the bullet points of what the clients need is really the areas on how you break it down. So these are just some examples of stuff. Now, again, even within each area, the more you break it down, the easier it becomes. The client sees it, and for you to get you the work done, so it becomes an attainable task and you don't get that overwhelmed feeling. Now, if you look at the slides, make it happen and be you. So why do I say this? Because most people are like, I need the money, I need the money, I need the money. I get that. And we all need the money. But when you have relationships that don't work, you don't get the money because that relationship won't be there for a long time. And the most important thing is to be genuine and to be yourself. Questions to ask clients. You survived part 1. Now let's get into the fun stuff. Sales is not about selling anymore. It's about building trust and educating. So what do we ask our clients when we work with them? But we want to slowly dig in. Because we know they are losing money each day that they do not have us. So the first question is what kind of business do you want? Now, some of you are hearing this question and it's like, hey, I'm in construction, I want a construction business. But no, it's like, if I'm talking to a client, it's what type of construction business? There's so many different areas. Do you want to be doing the work your entire life? Do you want someone to submanage the work? You want to get really specific on what kind of business they want to see how the money aspect is helping them or not helping them. The second question is, what is in your way? This is a tough one with clients because they don't necessarily want to ask, they don't necessarily want to answer that. It's getting to a deeper connection with them. So for instance, I have a design client, and what was in her way was that she was afraid to move out of one office to the other to get the business that she wanted. So we broke that down into steps for her. It was hard for her with the money concept, being away from her kids because she's a mom. You know, different things were coming at her. Now, try to imagine what it would be like for the third question is, if that stuff wasn't there, what was in the way? Sometimes we have family stuff that happens. Sometimes we have personal things that our family don't know and our friends. But try to imagine if all that stuff that's in the way, it wasn't there. So you close your eyes and you really feel that. What kind of possibilities can you create? It's unimaginable when you break through those boundaries. You completely have a whole new perspective. Now, this is the big question, and this is when you're enrolling. Are you ready to step into this life? So lots of times clients are like, of course, what do you mean? That's why I'm here. That's why I called you. All sorts of that. But sometimes we want something, but we're not necessarily connecting with it. When you're not connecting with it, it's a whole different perspective. In order to get that life that we want, we have to get into it. And what we have to do is really close our eyes and feel it and get up every day and show up, no matter what. This is my favorite question. Do you want to work with me? And we take this on together. And say it with a big smile. Because if you ask a client to work together with you when you have this frown, that's where your energy is going, to that frown. So they're not going to feel that liveliness of like, hey, let me take your hand and let's get on this road together to take you out of that. So here's some homework, and I'm actually going to give you guys a few minutes. Go create your onboarding questions based on what I shared so far of when you're talking to your clients. Create your onboarding checklist. Get your juices flowing. Get organized. But above all, get doing. Roll up the sleeves and let's get doing. So I'm going to set a timer here for 3 minutes and take this question by question and really see what you come up with by each area. You guys deserve the time. Take it box by box. And wherever you get stuck, put it into the chat and I'll help you after. But just keep, if you're stuck, move to the next box. So with getting organized, it could be stuff like going online and doing research. Doing, it could be making phone calls. There's all sorts of things in each area to help accomplish the task per area. But the onboarding questions is really what you feel based on those 5 questions that I shared, you know, really creating that checklist, those onboarding questions. Now, you're probably like, Margot, I so need help to get organized. I can understand that. So we're going to jump into this exercise together. And I hope you guys start a fresh new sheet for this. It's called the mind dump time. Now, you spoke to a client, maybe you're pricing out a job. If you're a designer, you're a contractor, if you're a CPA, all sorts. And grab a whiteboard. You have to get into a quiet room and set a timer. So when I do this, I generally do it at night when I don't have to answer emails or I know that my kids are sleeping, I don't have to pick up anybody, and I brainstorm my checklists. But the big thing is to be in a quiet room and really connect to what we're doing. the key here is by area of what we are doing. So for instance, some of my clients have like a dozen bank accounts, but some of those bank accounts can be different areas of their business. So even by bank account, I break it down by area, how many checking accounts. Because I can onboard a client with 6, and then the next day, all of a sudden, it's 10. And if you have a retainer with them, that's more work outside of the retainer. No, you're having a hard time. I get that. The more you break down the tasks, the easier it gets to tackle the work. So I'm going to share a little story with you. One of my one-on-one clients, he was really upset that a client of his wasn't answering. It was a big project that he took on, and he was really upset. And he had these broad areas, and he was so overwhelmed where he didn't feel like he was, finishing the work and just able to just continue it. Like he was almost going to give up. And I couldn't let that happen. So when you tackle it down by area, the easier it will get to be able to get that job done. Because when it comes to the cleanup work, when a client could have 1, 2 years, their present needs are still there. So you need to be really clear on what's the old tasks versus the new tasks, because if it's old time and present time, it's a lot to take on. So this is one of the key points that I want to spend a few minutes on to create check-in points to your client. Now, for instance, for the sake of this example, if you took on 12 months worth of work for a client, and let's say now in December, you're taking on the complete 2018. Now, they really have present time needs. So in their head, it's like March of last year is like old news, but they still need to create the tax return, and you still need the books to get done. So you have to constantly create a point where the client knows what's going on. So the concept of the check-in sheet that I showed you before, it helps so that the client sees exactly where you're at. So they understand the time constraints that you're up against. I generally create it at time periods. So depending on how big the client is, it could be at a quarter's time, it could be at a half a year's mark time, it could be every week. I have one real estate client of mine, when I took on their project work, I had to check in twice a week. I had to create my checklist. So you have to understand your client and you have to learn it, because also when you take them on, you're not really knowing them yet, but you're going to feel your way through. So the reason why I say the check-in points is because the clients like to see the money that they invested in good use. So similar to what I was sharing before, how like my one-on-one client, he was so upset that the client wasn't answering, he felt like he couldn't service the client. Now, that we're also worried because the client invested into us. Now, if the client invested into us and they're not answering, we're like, hey, like what's going on? So that's where those check-in sheets are great, because they really can see. A quick bonus I want to share is, I just realized this, which I could have put in, is lots of times I send, it's called Loom, a video of when I'm talking them through my spreadsheets or my reports, so that they have no questions when they're looking at their reports. So these are one of my favorite quotes. Amazing things will happen when you listen. Listen, listen, listen. And I can tell you, I am so guilty of not listening. It's crazy. When you keep your mouth shut and you listen and you really hear a client through, or even just a coworker, you learn so much about yourself and you learn about the task. It is just so helpful. So Our goal with all of this is to do less and make more. So how do we do that? This is just so simple, guys, and people aren't doing it. Creating checklists, calls, follow-ups, looms, it's just so simple, and everybody makes it out to be such a big deal. But when you do less and you make more, it feels great. How does that sound? I know, I love that. So here we are up to the special surprise. I'm going to share with you today an easy way to get new clients, and it's free. I have found this quote, and it says, "Ideas are easy, implementation is hard." I know I'm guilty of like 1,000 different ideas, and I like stagger them on what ideas I'm going to do first, because my mind is always full of juices flowing. So this is great. It's called the Ultimate Survey Strategy. The Ultimate Survey Strategy is when we create a survey that will attract our clients and engage them. So what does that mean? We're talking about like all sorts of questions that we can talk to our client and engage them. So I'm going to give you guys about 5 minutes now throughout this exercise, because I want you to really feel the intensity of this method. I want you to create a Google form. So open up a Google search and put in Google form. Now, take the time to list out your market fears, worries, dreams, and goals. Take the few minutes now and do it. I'm going to give you guys like 3-4 minutes. Take it item by item listed on there. The fears, the worries, their dreams, and their goals. So the goals is something that it's a weekly task. And let's say in the accounting industry, that's really the gap of where businesses are, because they leave their accounting till the end of the year and they're not really checking up on their goals unless they have somebody like us. So dreams is kind of like that special day. And when you list this out in your industry, it's like, I have one client who owns a lot of real estate, and his dream, he never has to visit his properties, that they're all self-running. And this specific client of mine, he has a lot. I can't even say off the top of my head because he buys and sells a lot. But his dream is when he retires that he doesn't even want to go to them. And he's not even worried, but that's just his dream. He's more about his fear if his dream will come true. So play around with those words and see how that goes for you. Now, let us come up with a gift to present to the people who fill it out. This will be your token for filling it out. So here's a few things. Now, you can take this Google form and you could use it as a way to interview your niche or your ideal client. So again, let's say you're a contractor and you want to figure out your ideal client. You can put out your Google form in some type of social media group and see what comes up so you understand what people like as you're forming your business. If you're using the survey as a strategy to gain business, you're talking to entrepreneurs, your ideal client that we talked about in the beginning, and we're really addressing them. Is their business serving them? It could be the opposite. So when people fill out that form, you want to give them like a token of maybe like a free class or a free upgrade, depending on what type of services that you do. Let's say with me, because I'm a service-based industry, I have to become a lot more creative for this method to give to people to filling out my Google form. But it's a fabulous way to understand people so that you can really target your niche. And now with this method, you can put them on your page, your Facebook page, your Twitter page. I don't know about Twitter. You can put it on Facebook, you can put it on LinkedIn, and all sorts of, the big one is in all of the social media groups. You go into the groups, you have to read their rules and see if you can post it, or really just even ask the owner for permission. Most of the time they say yes, unless it specifically says not to. So what are you guys gonna offer? Now the result of this form, you should have 8 to 10 questions for this form. Now with the 8 to 10 questions, you want to get the idea of where the client is at, or you want to get an idea of where they're going. You want to have a goal with that form, so when you read it and get the feedback that it's really helpful for you. And you could also ask other people to share this form, which is really a great way to do it too. So throughout my experience doing this a long time, I've come to notice that I did not realize how much other entrepreneurs really did not know where their business was heading. I did my business alone for like 13 years before I joined another accounting network. And 24 hours, 7 days a week, I had help. And I was running like on a hamster wheel and just doing, but whatever I thought seemed fit. And my business ran based on just cleanup work for clients for many years, but I didn't turn them into valued clients, into monthly retainers, into pushing those clients forward. I used to just do the cleanup work, the clients were happy, handshake, and we moved on. But back in the day, I wasn't really keeping them on. The clients were okay doing it the year end. I wasn't about the longevity. And this is where I created a lot of the concepts of our seminar for today, and where I call Boardroom. So this is my 12-month program I'm offering. And with this 12-month program, it's a deeper way to help you with your clients. Now, you could be an entrepreneur, any type of service-based business, to really take part in it. What you'll get in the program is 2 rocket launch intense hours of strategy. In that strategy, we create your 4 dream projects. So the 4 dream projects are like, let's say for me, for Margot, it's Margot, my marriage, my business, and my kids. You may not have 4 dream projects. You may have 3. You may not want all 4. But we really go dive deep into what's the components of the life. Now this kickstart, you'll get twice a year, and you really could just interchange it however you want. Generally, for a standard, it's every 6 months. You're going to get group calls every other month, every other week, twice per month, and they'll go from like anywhere to around 60 to 90 minutes. but it'll have flexibility to ensure the tasks are taken care of. We'll get on some share screens and dive deep. You'll get 4 30-minute emergency calls. Now, on those emergency calls, it's stuff that happens outside of the coaching calls. We're also including in the 12-month program a foundational training. So I'll give you an example of a foundational training. The same specific one-on-one client of mine, he was having a hard time with follow-up. We turned that into a training session so that going forward, he has a system to follow. So he'll never have a problem to follow up again because he realized what he was doing wrong for so long to master it going forward. Implementation strategy is you'll get 1 marketing tip per month to implement. So whether it's by the group calls or whether it's your emergency or by email, you'll be able to implement a strategy that you get into your business. So no matter what, you got 12 months of strategy where you get to put something in to be able to market your clients. Who likes bonuses? I know I do. Voxer access to Margot. Access Margot for any questions you might have. I love questions. So I had a client yesterday, and he's this older man, and I love him. And I think I say this about all my clients, that I love them, because they really all are incredible in every way. Like, I just feel like they get better and better every time I talk to them. And he's not an email person. He's not a text. And I call him. And, you know, it's just interesting how everybody is different. But sometimes when things happen outside of structure and we get into this panic, we get into this overwhelm, we're like, what do we do? So that's where I'm giving a bonus. You'll get access to Margot for any questions you might have. So Voxer, if you guys don't know, it's kind of like a walkie-talkie where you get to walkie-talkie me and tell me questions. You can be a voice, you can type, whatever. What else might you need? I hope you're on your toes. 2 tickets to the Boardroom Retreat in October. So this is the big, big news. All my fabulous one-on-one clients will be together for the day, and we're going to come together for a full doing day for a retreat. Details to follow on this. And I put 2 so that you can bring your loved one, you could bring your business partner, you know, you can get creative. And if you need more tickets, we can always talk about it. It's a very intimate event where we're going to get doing for the day and really dive deep. So this is like almost like another Kickstarter that you get throughout the 12 months together. So again, Boardroom for 12 months is you get the 2 hours of the rocket launch intense strategy. You get the kickstart twice per year. So like, I know like May, June time, I start to get overwhelmed. And I'm like, where does my business go? And sometimes people are like now, oh, the New Year's resolution, I'm gonna wait till January 2nd. But the time is today. You wanna go into 2019 with momentum. So you get the group coaching calls, you get the emergency calls, and the foundational training. Now, the foundational training is what's going to help your business move forward. And if you have any problems with that, that's where the support comes in and the Voxer access comes in to help you make sure that that happens. Now, the implementation strategy is a way to just make sure outside of what we're doing to get more clients. So like today was like the Google form. And I don't know if any of you are using it, but I was like, hey, this is a great one to share for my group today for my first webinar. And the two bonuses, you got the Voxer access and you got the 2 tickets to Boardroom Retreat in October. Now, I'm not sure about the location yet. It might be in New York. I might choose somewhere else. So stay tuned, but it's going to be awesome. There's going to be some fabulous speakers I have lined up. There's a lot to help in there. Now, this is the value of each item. If you look line by line. And you're probably like, hey, that's a lot of money, Margot. So the rocket launch is an intent strategy, and each line has its value. And, you know, within time, that works out into the business to help you. The investment would be, if you totaled all that up, each line, it would be $53,000. But that's not what we're going to do. So Boardroom, for the 12 months, you have 2 options. You have $20,000 paid in full, or it's $2,000 per month for 12 months. Now, even with the $20,000 paid in full, if you needed on, you know, a little bit of terms within that, we can talk about that if you're interested. Or you can just do the $2K per month and simply, you know, keep it like that. It's your call. Either way works great. So just to go over what we have the 2 hours of intent strategy. You have the kickstart twice per year, which is like the complete blueprint of your business as an entrepreneur. You have the group coaching calls. You have the emergency calls, the foundational training, the implementation strategy, and the 2 bonuses. Now, the Voxer access, that can be helpful when you have the strategy sessions. There's so many things here that you can do to use the access. And you get to do the retreat with me and a bunch of other doers. Love it. I know what some of you are thinking. Hey, Margot, 12 months is a lot of time to commit. I don't even know what I'm going to eat for breakfast tomorrow. I have something for you too. So we also have a 6-month program. You'll get the 2 hours of intent strategy. You'll get the group coaching calls. You'll have the emergency calls, and you'll get the foundational training per month. Now, the foundational training, just to help you remember, is something to help you keep the business structure afloat. So for instance, it can be a follow-up process. It can be a follow-up to the actual work. It could be a strategy on what we're doing for clients and how that follows through to your actual business goals of the money. Now, Boardroom for 6 months, you have the rocket launch, that's $5,000. You have the group calls, that's worth the $3,000. You have the emergency calls, you have the foundational training, and the 2 bonuses. So now in the 6 months, you also get Voxer access, and you also get access to the retreat in October. You get the 2 tickets. So that investment comes to a total of $24,500 for the 6 months. Silly, we're not going to do that. So the investment for the 6 months is either $8,000 paid in full or $1,600 per month for the 6 months. This offer is only available for an intimate launch. which is you guys, and I'm so happy to share it with you. So here are some of the people who this works for. So you might be on the webinar today and you might not feel it's for you, but I hope you do, and you may know somebody. So you could be a professional service-based business, you can be a bookkeeper, you can be a coach, a consultant. That's really who the program works for. So what is my special surprise? I never want to leave you feeling lost and confused. So as a thank you for attending this webinar, and as a way to encourage you to continue, business building shouldn't be complicated. I see too many people in that overwhelm of complicated, and it really hurts my heart. It hurts my heart. It's like throwing spaghetti against the wall and just hoping that something is going to stick. If you'd like to have one-on-one support and the framework outlined, please don't hesitate to join. So just to sum up for today, this is the components of the 12 months of what's included in our 12-month program. You get the rocket launch, 2 hours of intense strategy, 120 minutes in every single second. Kickstart of twice per year. You get the group coaching calls, the emergency calls, the foundational training, the implementation, the Voxer access to Margot, and you get the retreat. So we get to have a full day of doing. This is the investment for the 12 months. And then this is the components of the 6 months. Now, this is the investment for the 6 months. Now, if some of you guys are like, I don't know, 6 months is still a long time, I'm not sure. So your first 3 months is almost like a lot of stuff are formatting, and then the next 3 months are, you're really feeling that. The reason why I encourage you guys to go to the 12 months is because of the implementation strategy along with the foundational training. You're going to feel the whole thing together where your business is really going to boost. So if you're nervous to go into the 12 months, the 6 months is great, and you're going to get loads and loads of value. Now, back to the 12 months here is, somebody who's tried and done this is really where the value is going to help you. So if you're kind of like, hey, I can do this all myself, I got that. And I had a long time of thinking I can do that. But until I brought in high-end help, that's really where my business started to move. So this is going to go, the spots. I'm only offering 5 spots. And you're going to get, and I'm going to put it into the chat after, you're going to get the application if you are interested. Now, after this, if you guys if you have any questions, just tag me and ask me the questions about the program. It's going to come, if you guys signed up, it's going to come in an email to you. And, with that, you're going to be able to hold this. But I suggest you and I encourage you to fill out the application because I only have 5 spots and they're going to go. And with this price, the value alone in the first 3 months, you're going to see how much you're going to get. You're going to feel loved, you're going to feel supported, and you're going to feel like you can take on the world with your wings. So, oops, I went the wrong way. So, the 12 months, and the big thing here is also with the 12 months, you get to meet other people. You get to connect and do all sorts of things with other people in the group. And you're going to have that into the 6 months program too. But you're not going to have there the implementation strategy. So those 12 strategies alone each month is a big value. The foundation is what's going to help you move forward, and the implementation as well. Now, part of my favorite parts is the intent strategy. It's all my favorite. That's why I designed the program this way. And, you know, it's kind of like you found your person on who you want to talk to after all this time doing it yourself. Or maybe you have help and then it's not really working for you. So I really thank you guys for coming on today. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to put it into the chat and I'll get onto it right after the webinar. And if you are looking to get on to the program, I hope you get onto it right away and fill out the application, because it's only 5 spots that I have. And you're probably like, why are you only opening up 5 spots? I only have a certain amount of time and support to be able to do that. So I'm only giving it to people that are doing, and that's the purpose of the application. I want somebody who's interested in the help, and they really want the help to move forward so that they can move their business forward and really build that dream business that they're looking for. And we can do that together. It's like having that vested partner into your relationship to that high-end value. I thank you all for coming today. And if you have any questions, let me know. I love you all. Speak to you soon. Bye.